First appearing in the episode Lunar Eclipsed, the Bat Ponies of Equestria are an enigma, officially recognised by series creator Lauren Faust and former writer M.A. Larson as a separate pony race. The only appearances these forms have made thus far have been in the aforementioned episode, as well as Part 2 of the QT Remark. In both cases, the Bat Ponies were seen to be the bodyguards of Princess Luna, or in the latter case, her nightmare form. Though little seen, this supposed pony race gained much attention from fans of the show, quickly becoming an artistic focal point. To this extent, any analysis on the topic that covers only canon references will inevitably remain incomplete, for, much like Derpy Hooves, it is the ideas developed outside of the show's universe that have resonated the strongest. Yet just how much of what is theorized is in fact show accurate? For the past few months, the Equestria Cryptozoological Society has been searching through the available data on the subject, comparing in-universe evidence to popular headcanon, in an attempt to paint our best possible picture of what the Bat Ponies of Equestria really are. What we found has surprised us quite a bit. First things first, however, what evidence do we have in-universe on the topic of Bat Ponies? There are two explanations raised for the form referred to as the Bat Pony. The first harkens back to Lauren Faust's own statement on the matter, that such forms are their own pony race. The second is that the form is but a decorative outer cover worn by Luna's bodyguards. Either way, the typical Bat Pony, as far as we can tell, is about the same size as a regular pony, with wings that are far more bat-like in appearance, and ears that bear a noticeable tuft. While these stand out, by far the most striking features are the eyes, which exhibit a distinctive slit pupil. It is worth noting that no species of bat exhibits eyes of this nature, even in universe. In Lunar Eclipse, these Bat Ponies have a consistent shape and colour, a feature common to the Royal Guard, which is hypothesized to be a result of a spell applied to either the armour or the soldiers themselves. The episode The QT Remark features Bat Ponies with far more variety in terms of colour and appearance, indicating a reduced usage of such consistency spells in the alternate timeline when compared to the main timeline. Beyond this point, what little we know regarding Bat Ponies is derived from fandom speculation, including diet, behaviour, and even the design of their teeth. The explanation raised in regards to the limited sightings of Bat Ponies is that their appearance is merely decorative. Indeed, the episode The QT Remark appeared to canonize such a possibility. The episode features an alternate timeline appearance by Rainbow Dash as a member of Nightmare Moon's Royal Guard, exhibiting at least two traits associated with Bat Ponies. As far as we can tell, Rainbow Dash has never previously shown any lineage with Bat Ponies, leading us to conclude that such changes are artificial in nature. The revelation that the fabricated appearance of such a race does indeed exist in universe leads to the following argument. If any one of the on-screen Bat Ponies could just as easily be Pegasi in costume, then what is to say this race ever canonically existed? From this point of view, it is easy to think of all Bat Ponies as just Pegasi that have had a specific spell applied to them. However, that same argument can easily be made for canon beings such as Breezes. As we now know, the pony civilization has long had a means of transforming themselves into such a form. Knowing how to mimic the appearance of something does not necessarily make the original form non-existent. This does not outright disprove the argument, although it is at least something to consider in relation to the subject matter. After all, even Rainbow Dash's form from the QT Remark could just as easily have been constructed under Nightmare Moon's orders in order to better fit in with the rest of her guards. Even if all of the Bat Ponies we have seen so far have been normal Pegasi, it is not impossible for the design to have been inspired or directly lifted from an actual subject. More evidence arose around July 2018, with early promotional material revealing the upcoming appearance of the Kirin, a dragon pony hybrid inspired by Chinese mythology. The episode itself, Sounds of Silence, was released sometime later and confirmed that Equestria's Kirin were indeed their own race. The Kirin had apparently long been anticipated from the show, although this was the first time they had ever been shown to appear in universe. From this, the possibility of the Bat Pony already having appeared within the show, existing as its own race, became a far more serious possibility. After all, episodes such as Horseplay prove that many of the original ideas from early in the show's life cycle are still being carried by the writing staff. In the end, canonical absence remains by far the most likely possibility. Yet, for the purpose of this analysis, it is at least worth asking, what if such a race were canon? Perhaps the closest example we have for a confirmed Bat-Pony hybrid is the entity known as Flutterbat, from the episode Bats, created by accident from the character of Fluttershy. The Flutterbat bears many of the same characteristics associated with the prototypical Bat-Pony design. However, it also has some differences. These include the lack of an apparent slit pupil, the colour difference, and, above all, the animalistic behaviour and lack of apparent sentience. However, there is a possible explanation for this. In explaining the circumstances surrounding the creation of Flutterbat, Twilight describes the spell as having transferred merely the desire to be vampire fruit bats of an entire group of such creatures into Fluttershy. It is possible the spell also transferred genetic traits, although why Twilight did not mention this given her obsession with accuracy and details seems odd. If we take the explanation to heart, from this format it is possible to view Flutterbat as not necessarily representing a true hybrid animal. Rather, the creature itself seems to represent a Pegasus with physical and mental attributes that are attempting to mimic a vampire fruit bat. How such a change can come about is uncertain, although given Twilight's description, it could be the transformation itself occurred through a combination of Pegasi magic and sheer force of will. While this does not explain cases such as Screwloose or Screwy, who, in spite of believing herself to be a dog, never actually transformed into one, it is worth noting that the change did not occur all at once, but rather across stages, with any further changes being stifled once the spell was reversed. While this more than likely does not represent a true Bat Pony, it at least provides something of a reference. A strong indicator towards the kinds of life expected to be glimpsed in the show is human culture, especially mythology. The trouble there is that there are no winged equines in human mythology with the features seen in Bat Ponies. As such, we have very little with which to refer back to in terms of elaborating on a possible identity. Our closest example from popular culture is the Thestral from the Harry Potter series. Indeed, it is reported that writer Emily Larson drew inspiration from such creatures when designing the Bat Pony, although further confirmation of this is hard to come by. Thestrals, according to J.K. Rowling, are carnivorous scavengers that can only be seen by those who have witnessed and fully comprehended a loss of life, consequently garnering a reputation as an ill omen. A limited perception would go some way as to explain the apparent lack of sightings. If we work from the point of view of this race being a dragon hybrid rather than a bat hybrid, we could possibly make the case for such forms as being the Pegasi variants of Longmas or Killins. This would both explain the appearance of the eyes and give context to the bat-like wings, which are at least somewhat reminiscent of those of dragons. The main issue with this identity would be the lack of apparent horns or scales, although this in itself could be a feature obscured by the armour being worn. Indeed, such features could be represented by the crest adorning the helmet itself. Given the apparent nocturnal behaviour of such subjects, another possible explanation for the eyes could be they are in fact based on those of cats rather than reptiles. Hybridizations of 3 different animals or more are known to occur in universe, therefore it does not seem impossible. Strangely enough, our closest comparison to the elusive Bat Pony might just be the winged humanoids of the Asian Pacific. This comparison is based on the analogy of ponies as humans, one that is consistent, though imperfect. Perhaps some of the more famous supposed accounts originate from military personnel stationed on Okinawa Island in 1945. The beings were described as shy, tending to distance themselves from their eyewitnesses, and were most often glimpsed individually, rarely being seen in groups. Though they did not attempt to harm the soldiers, they were frequently met with suspicion due to their curiosity, as well as their strange appearance. In the Philippines, such forms are represented in local folklore by the wakwak and akek, often described as exhibiting vampiric tendencies with a reputation of attacking humans. If these forms are indeed their own race, just how are they perceived by the rest of Equestria? In Part 2, we shall cover the most consistent headcanon surrounding the bat pony race, and how they might compare to the show.